You cannot say that a region you claim to be within your territorial integrity could be compromised. That is what you're saying, that the territorial integrity of the Nigerian state has been compromised. And as such, no wonder the people, when they were asked to come out to disregard the sit at home, of course, they have no confidence in the Nigerian security to guarantee their safety and that of their loved ones. And as such, the military claimed that people were oppressed or were, of course, threatened. That is not true. If people were threatened under your supervision as the chief of defense staff, it means you have lost the right of governance over those regions where you cannot protect or guarantee the safety of life and property of those within the region. It means you have lost your right, the legal right to govern those people or to remain as a government over the region. That is the clear implication of such submissions. But I don't know if he really is aware with the realities. Based on his submissions, we are analyzing based on his statements or state briefing that if those people you cannot protect, you cannot guarantee their safety, you cannot guarantee their security, it means you have lost the right to govern them. The rights of government over them has been lost. That notwithstanding, let's come over again. Of most recent, you saw Moses Simon Eba, the Prime Minister of the Biafran Republic government in exile, have petitioned the African Union and the African Court of the continued detention of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. Of most recent, we saw the Mazen Nnamdi Kanu defending himself in the Nigerian courts. He argued his case logically and well articulated, citing and quoting the provisions of the Nigerian constitution that empowers and him not to be tried by any law within the Nigerian state, being that he has not committed any known crime within the Nigerian legal jurisprudence or Nigerian territory. And furthermore, he stressed, citing Section 2, subsection 3F of the Nigerian Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act, that any attempt by any legal practitioner or court to try him, of course, amounts to the act of terrorism because you cannot break a law, an international treaty, and accept to benefit from such illegality. Illegality does not beget legality. That is his submission. And I think that is well sunk in the heart, in the ears of those legal counsel to Nigerian government. They understood the implication of the law, but they are possibly hiding under some, of course, a shield, under some disguise to jettison the provisions of the law, which unfortunately Mazen Nnamdi Kanu has been able to pinpoint and bring out to the public domain. And it makes, of course, the Nigerian legal system uh, to be questioned, and those legal practitioners to reconsider their steps and action, to begin to ask themselves, are they acting in the interest of international best practices? Well, that is a subject of next discussion. But our focus today is on the reality staring at us, that the Chief of Army Staff or Defense Staff has admitted that they have a disadvantage over the terrain or the supposed eastern region where they want to enforce the sovereignty of Nigeria over those who are trying to succeed or who are acting within their international recognized law, all right, of course, of self defense, that they can no longer succeed in suppressing them or forcing them. Of course, those people have taken up arms, they have formed their own military. That means the battle now is Nigeria versus Biafra, just as the Prime Minister rightly said, combatant men of the Nigerian force against the Biafran Defense Force. Yet they recognize and admitted that these people are very brutal and are not sparing anything, of course, on their way that will hamper the restoration of the Biafran state. Is a red flag, of course, and a very serious signal that the battle, just as most recent, the Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka admitted and confessed publicly that you cannot defeat Biafra. The word cannot means, by interpretation, it is impossible. There is no consideration, there is no negotiation. It is not subject of controversy, of subjects of discourse. He said, you cannot means it is literally, technically, psychologically, diplomatically impossible to defeat a people who are determined and willing to sacrifice all in defense of their identity. You cannot win them. Not even the gods can defeat such a people. Just citing from the Holy Book, where God cited that the people have agreed, of course, to build the Tower of Babel. He said in the heavenlies that no power can stop them if they have decided in unity. Of course, to build this tower, lest they get to us, let's confuse their language. But if you fail to confuse their language, it is impossible to defeat them. And that is just the reality. That is the principle. And I think the Nigerian government should begin to understand the gravity of such segment and refuse, of course, to live in denial of the realities before all are sundry. This is no longer deniable. The issue of Biafra, restoration or exodus from Nigeria have taken unusual dimensions. Some thought that after the rendition of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who happens to be the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, they would have succeeded in silencing the voice. But they never knew that that was just an error, a very blatant one for that matter. But the rendition of Mazin Nnamdi Kanu gave way, of course, to a more uh, expansive approach or strategic approach, using, of course, what they understand is the language that Nigerian government respects. Simon Ekpa came into play having a military background, just as the former military president and the military head of state, Olusegun Obasanjo, admitted then, after the rendition of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, that Simon Ekpa was more dangerous than Simon Ekpa because Mazi Simon Ekpa would use the military experience and strategy. He might not consider dialogue or diplomacy as the only resort or solution, of course, of getting this done. Or just like the Mazis Nnamdi Kanu, who is a very free, a very quiet man, he resorts to diplomatic means, engagement, as he rightly submitted that I will destroy Nigeria with the truth, not with the instrumentality of military ways. He believes so much in the diplomatic approach and the use of truth as position, of course, and the international laws. to achieve the restoration of Biafra. But when he was set aside by his rendition by the Nigerian government, that paves way for a more robust, more brutal approach, of course, by Simon Eber, who stepped into the shoe and today, of course, has changed the narrative that you cannot stop Biafra, that Biafra is a spirit and Biafra cannot die. And this gospel has been preached, of course, beyond the shores of Nigeria. And the Biafra struggle of restoration of the sovereignty has become a global spotlight which everybody can understand. Everybody can feel the pressure. Everybody can feel the bad. Everybody can feel the enthusiasm. It has gained more public, of course, brokers. It has gained more public attention and has become a subject of discourse in within the international communities. Of most recent, the Nigerian American medias are now discussing at Biafra, discussing Mazin Simon, discussing the Biafran government in its and their mission to restoring the Biafran sovereignty. Any moment from now, that to me, of course, is become inevitable and almost impossible for anyone to stop, just as Wallace Soyinka, in his wisdom and foresight, understood the handwriting on the wall, that it has gone beyond any possibility of being stopped or hampered, that the threshold of oppression or the frequency of oppression of the Biafrans today, Mazi Simon Ekpa has been able to use, having been exposed. Of course, he understood how Finland got their independence from one of the foremost world powers, Russia. He have underscored and understudied the strategies and is, of course, working out, of course, deploying such technicality strategies and otherwise to ensure that Biafra is restored. So, for the Nigerian Chief of Defense Staff, admitting, of course, their inadequacies or failure to navigate through, of most recent again, it was admitted by the same Christopher Musa that Moses Simon Eber has taken over the airspace, have hijacked the airspace, which means they cannot even fly over those regions without, of course, the fear of being brought down. That is to tell you how sophisticated, how robust Moses Simon Eber has built the system. Prior to this time, people thought it was just a media talkative, a media ranting, of course, a media war, but it has translated and have shifted from that dimension to a dimension of realities, of course, staring at us today. Nigerian government and the military are frustrated by that submission from Christopher Musa. If you can read in between the lines what is going through his mind, he said, unless Mazi Simon Ekpa, of course, is being arrested of that which we might not win the war against them because he have mastered the strategies what Nigerian government and the military don't know. And of most recent, Simon Epa said, we are going to consolidate, we are going to build on a defense system. We are going to build the highest defense system in the history of the world that have never been known, which means there is a fire on the mountain. Akachukudia, the hand of God is expressed when people are united, strongly determined, resolved to achieve a thing. The Bible said, God Himself said, nothing can stop them. Nothing can stop them. And that is the reality today. And it's quite unfortunate that innocent or people are dying, unfortunately, from both sides. But as rightly said, you will kill us, they will kill us, we will kill them. and at the end, Biafra will come. So it is needless to continue to execute or to suppress the people, force them to accept what they have rejected. I mean, will cost heavily. And of course, today, you know how much Nigeria is spending in execution of the war against insecurity here and there. The north, you have from the north front, you have the Boko Haram, you have the ISWAP, you have the ISIS, you have the supposed bandits and other nomenclatures. All these Islamic jihadists from TS, of course, also pushing their agenda. What does that tell you? There is a serious crisis. Of course, the Nigerian military has been stretched, and of course, they are lacking men, they are lacking resources, they are lacking, of course, military wares. Most of the military wares has been destroyed. Of course, that is very clear, and it's quite unfortunate. And once lost, you can't regain them. What am I saying in the very essence? You cannot understand uh, the times and the seasons we're in. That it's no longer business as usual. As Simon Eber has dragged the Nigerian government, of course, on behalf of the Biafran Republic government in exile, to unite to you African Union courts, of course, demanding the redress of the abuse of the rights and privileges of the Biafran people, and of course, the continued detention of Mazen and the Kano, and the restoration of the sovereignty of the Biafran state. Well, let's see how that will go down. Of course, in the matter of weeks, we are keeping our fingers crossed, watching to get you, of course, intimated. And of course, we come here again to analyze, and of course, give our own perspective of these issues. And let's know what is your own comments or reactions via the comment section of comment tab. We'll be interested to hear from you over this matters arising and the realities on ground. Nigeria is battling over economic war, insecurity, and otherwise. The borders are porous, cannot be managed, or of course, surveillance placed. And internally, people are dying. So most communities are being ransacked by military militias, Boko Haram, and whatever you call them. There is serious restrictness, and some quarters are looking, of course, away from these realities. You can't shy away from the realities. But in my own opinion, the killings are senseless. The use of coerciveness, coerciveness, or force is senseless. There is nothing wrong if a people insist that they are living. You give them the right to live and have your own peace. You cannot distort their peace and thinking you will have yours. That is just what is happening. What stopped Nigeria from calling its national sovereign conference, where each regions, where each ethnic nationalities will be given an opportunity to discuss the continued existence of the Nigerian state, just as like the professor Wole Soyinka said, the Nobel laureate said, anyone who is saying that the Nigerian unity is not negotiable is making a very silly statement. That the Nigerian government should understand that this need, of course, for the continued existence or unity of Nigeria under this current configuration to be renegotiated, or let everyone, of course, better part his way. Let everyone has his peace, preserve his peace, and of course, develop at their own pace and face their own problems and challenges. I think that would be better off than Western resources, human resources, capitals that would have been channeled in the development of the citizens. And today's citizens are impoverished more, hunger in the land, insecurity in the land, fighting from all sides. It's quite unfortunate. I will leave you with this until we come your way in subsequent editions. Remember, blessed, and don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to this channel. You can also support this conversation via the comment, via of the super chat. Provisions are made for that. Yes, encourage us, of course, to continue this service to humanity. You can also be a partner in this noble cause. Join our YouTube partner programs. Support us any way you can to get more systems, more equipments, of course, more gadgets, and improve what we have on ground. Remain blessed until I come on your way in subsequent edition. I remain Chigos and Debo. Bye for now.